Good morning and welcome to the third year of Delivering Green, Creating Sustainable Supply Chains by the Logistics Point. Today we have prepared a very interesting selections of speakers for you. First, we'll be joined by Pol Sweeney from Descartes, looking at the sustainability and of delivery fleets. Later on, we'll have a few presentations on packaging as well as recycling. We will take a look into the sustainable construction and commercial real estate with British Land. We will also talk about ChatGPT and AI in logistics together with Microsoft. I will be bringing Pol in just a second on the stream. Pol, good morning.
Hi, good morning, Nick.
Well, thank you very much for joining us. And as well as your slides are here. Thank you very much, and the stage is yours.
Okay, thank you, Nick. Hi, good morning, all. And as Nick said, Pol Sweeney, I head up the Fleet Solutions business line for Descartes in Europe. And a lot of our focus within Descartes is obviously in logistics and providing solutions for supply chains and logistics, and in particular the world of last mile delivery as well. So what I wanted to do this morning was just spend a few minutes here just focusing on transitioning customers to sustainable delivery and really looking at that from a point of view of transitioning your customers to that sustainable delivery and getting them involved in that journey with you as a business has been a key aspect of achieving success here. So I wanted to start just a little bit with some thoughts from a guy called David McWilliams. He's an economist, a writer, a journalist. He is Irish, but I think even if you're not Irish, I think you still may find him interesting. So he talks a lot about a generational thing and about sustainability and the approach to climate change being a generational thing. He talks about, in the 18th century, business, big business, financiers, landlords, bankers, etc. They argued that capitalism couldn't survive without the abolition of slavery. And today, in the 21st century, many businesses, pressure groups, and so on, they would argue that without fossil fuels, sort of global trade and finance will not survive either. And what he would argue here is there is a generational shift occurring, and he talks about the generational moral shift that's occurring that makes this concept of burning fossil fuels for global trade and finance no longer acceptable, and that organizations that do not take account of the need to become sustainable and move away from the use of fossil fuels, that they will become pariahs in the world to come for the next generation of consumers that are out there. So he talks about, more than anything else, we're talking about a generational shift when we talk about sustainability and climate. And that when generation morals shift, and that's it, the game's over. They don't go back the way. They only go forward, because the young essentially always win. The young replace the old, and the morals of the young replace those of the old. So sort of from that perspective, this change in terms of sustainability and climate it's not a whim, it's not a passing fad, it's a generational shift that's occurring, and it's a moral shift that's occurring as well in there. And that's that we've started to see, and that will just grow and accelerate as we move forward here. And it's about planning how to deal with that, planning how to cope with that, and how to survive and thrive within that environment as well. Sorry, just gonna skip the slide on me. So in terms of how to cope with the change, again, I think there's a mindset change here for businesses, and managing that proactively is key to success. And I think the mindset change is very much about this being again going back to this is a transformational issue. it's not a sort of a fad. It is something which is going to change the way that you've got to approach business and how you've got to approach your customers, and in particular, it's about being able to demonstrate to your customers that you are it's not about sort of I guess not about greenwashing what you're doing. It's about having the ability to demonstrate to your customers that you are investing in sustainability, that you are moving with this change that's occurring today, and that you're adopting the concept of climate budgets out there. So budgets to invest in sustainability, as opposed to carbon budgets, which are more about continue to use non-sustainable energy sources and offset it in some fashion. So it's a change into that concept of investing in sustainability and demonstrating that change in mindset to your customer base. When it comes to logistics, supply chain, and getting into that sort of last mile of delivery as well, one of the key things that needs to be achieved in there is more so than ever is utilizing the resources that exist within that area of your business and managing them to an even higher level of efficiency and effectiveness in order to deliver your service offering. So no longer will it be acceptable to not have that sort of keen focus on efficiency, effectiveness, utilization of resource, and through that being able to demonstrate it, investment in sustainability. And obviously with sort of the resources in this area of supply chains becoming more and more expensive, and also with things like driver shortages and general labor shortages, making those resources even more limited and harder to access than in the past, then getting your planning of those resources and having that sort of crucial objective of being able to plan them in a optimal fashion in terms of delivering sustainability is a critical sort of outcome that you need to adopt and plan for in your business to both win and continue to win your customer mindset, and also to continue to survive profitably from a climate budget and a financial budget point of view as well. And that concept of climate budgets about investing in sustainability, the business need to set themselves targets for what they're going to achieve there, and then really put the ownership of those targets with the financial targets for a business as well. So have them owned at an executive and finance level in the same way as the financial budget for a business is. I think then as you move into this, so getting your customers on side, going back to the fact that it is a generational thing, it's increasingly and relentlessly, the next generations are going to be the consumers and customers for all our businesses as we move forward here, and they have a role to play in and are willing to play in enabling organizations that address sustainability and achieve a better care for the climate out there. And whether it's sort of a business to business or business to consumer, asking your customers to get to help and get them involved as part of this, I think is critical to success here. So by that, sort of if you're making deliveries to your customers, enabling them to see what is the impact of one choice of delivery versus another choice of delivery, either timing, mode of delivery, and so on, enabling them to see that in terms of what is the impact on sustainability, what is the environmental impact of one choice versus another for those organizations, be they a B2B or B2C, is key here to enable them to come on board and help you achieve those more sustainable deliveries, and yet meeting their expectations as well. So green label choices without greenwashing is really what we're talking about here. And as an incentive, there's certainly research out there that shows that green label choices that are real have probably twice as much impact on price incentives alone in terms of delivery. And I think demonstrating the investment that you're making in your climate budgets in terms of demonstrating how you are able to measure and able to provide to your customers that ability to help you with those more sustainable delivery choices, more sustainable delivery options in there is key to this as well in terms of getting your customers on side in this journey. I think like all changes, technology is changing out there today as well, and utilizing technology I think is going to be critical to helping organizations achieve sustainability, achieve more sustainable delivery, but also demonstrate that sustainable delivery as well. So measure against targets and demonstrate against those targets. I think on the plus side here, there is a lot of technology which is already mature and capable in this area of sort of advanced planning and scheduling. There's massive capabilities around optimization of supply chains, optimization of routes for final mile delivery. That is ever increasing in terms of abilities to have continuous optimization of those deliveries, taking account of sort of dynamic aspects such as traffic speeds and time of day, but also road networks and restricted areas. But then as we move forward into electric vehicles here, they're also capable of taking in there things such as the battery charge durations, battery range, impact of temperature on the range of a vehicle, and so on. And by utilizing the technology effectively, and by bringing your customer into that sort of journey and having them part of the decision-making process in there, enabling more sustainable choices, then you can achieve things like increasing your stop density there as well. So we've seen that certainly achieved by customers to significant, sort of 12% and more in terms of increasing stop density. Communicating with customers, so customer communications, again, a critical aspect in bringing the customer with you on that journey, involving them in terms of the supply chain, and in particular for the last mile in there, the order and the delivery life cycle, communicating interactively with them, keeping them informed, enabling any changes in their circumstances or timings to be accounted for, any changes in the deliveries being accounted for in real time in there, and keeping that communication a positive and informative value for your customer to help manage that sort of impact on climate and achieve sustainability, and helping eliminate things like unnecessary waiting, idling, and so on in there. Artificial intelligence and machine learning is definitely something which in this area of optimization is having a growing and increasing sort of positive impact in there. There's a vast amount of data in there that can be used to help increase accuracy, increase efficiency, and drive more sustainability into the delivery world. Things like service durations, transit times by individual driver, by individual vehicle types, territories, customers. These are areas where artificial intelligence and machine learning can drive even further improvements into that whole area of advanced planning and scheduling. So certainly using technology to help achieve sustainability and transition customers to sustainable delivery is, I think, going to be a key enabler for the future. Just looking at some of the figures that we've compiled from Descartes over the last year or so, over a year, sort of from applying those technologies across our business in all supply chains, there's been just over 500,000 tons of CO2 avoided there, so almost 2 billion sheets of paper and over 700 million litres of fuel that weren't spent. So certainly from setting targets, being able to measure those targets and being able to demonstrate achievement of a climate budget for your business will be a key sort of enabler to helping you transition your customers to sort of a sustainable delivery. So that's really the topics I wanted to sort of touch on this morning. So Nick, I think if there's any questions, then happy to address them.
Yes. So one of the things would be how to identify deliveries that are green or could be green in order to label them appropriately and then obviously act upon the label.
Yeah. So I think it's a great question. Like the technology to do that definitely exists out there today, and many of our customers are using that. But it comes down to, if you think of the last mile deliveries, then once you have identified the delivery to an individual location for a customer, then as you're starting to build further commitments to your customers on top of that, you can start to assess relative to deliveries I'm already making, what is the incremental cost in terms of CO2 of adding a particular delivery in, and if I deliver to you at 11 o'clock next Friday, and then I'm looking to an option to deliver to a neighbor of yours, then trying to get them to recognize that if we deliver at midday or at 10 o'clock, then that is much more incrementally lower impact on the environment and much more sustainable than them pushing for a delivery to come back to you, I don't know, Friday evening at 5 p.m. Mm-hmm. So it's about enabling customers to see that relative cost and impact of the choices that they're making, and asking you as a business to commit to, and what that is doing to their impact as an individual customer on the environment and sustainability and an ability to achieve sustainability. So that is there today. It requires some intelligence within the solutions and a real world view of the world to achieve that. But yeah, that is certainly technology that's available today to achieve.
And I also wanted to bring a few things that you mentioned. Well, a few times you mentioned customer, and now bringing the customer and making them make the green delivery. Is this only presenting it at the checkout, for example? Hey, you can have this delivered, maybe a bit more expensive, but in a greener way, or are there any other ways where we can engage with them to make it better?
Yeah, so it's not just in terms of that sort of home delivery as well, even within the B2B world where you're doing regular deliveries to existing customers, being able to provide to those customers in advance the impact of the timing of their deliveries and the types of deliveries that you're doing for them, and where potentially there is more sustainable options to make those deliveries, and allow them to have a lower footprint and lower impact on the environment, and add to their positively to their climate budget, is something that could be done in advance. It doesn't have to be at a point to checkout. Equally, for those sort of final mile home deliveries as part of an e-commerce sort of world, there is also the ability to inform people ahead of time that you are in their area, and that if you are looking to have a delivery of your groceries or whatever at the weekend, then the most efficient time for you to do that as a customer of ours would be whatever it may be, Saturday morning, Friday afternoon, and enable them to see in advance before they approach you as to where you can make that sustainable delivery, and help them invest in that sustainability as well. And in that way, look to bring them to you as a business which is investing in sustainability.
And should sustainable delivery be more expensive than the regular, usual delivery?
So there is no particular reason why it needs to be, and there's certainly a strong argument why it should in fact be cheaper, because sort of from a delivery point of view, if you as an organization are achieving a sustainable delivery, then you are using less resources, you're spending less energy in achieving that, and your customer in turn should be sort of by helping you achieve that, they should also be certainly gaining from that as well. So sustainable delivery, it does not mean a more expensive delivery. It's sort of it's maybe slightly counterintuitive that you're getting what you want, but you're not. You're getting it for less.
And another thing I also want to point, and people can see it in below at the moment as well, is you're joining us on the 24th of May in London in person for our networking and roundtable event. And we will be talking again on sustainability. And I wanted to look into what other things do you want to share with people at the in-person event?
Yeah, so I think in terms of person, it's always good to sort of have conversations around how other people are seeing this. But certainly the topic of being able to get your customers involved in the end, sustainability is something that there's a community aspect and to sustainability. And being able to find those mechanisms to how do you get your customers involved in sustainability and enabling those climate budgets be profitable for them as an individual and profitable for the business as well. That concept is something which I think is emerging right now. Be good to understand people's feedback on that and talk a little bit more about that. And then also as we look at sort of the emergence and increase in what artificial intelligence is able to do in this space as well, those are probably areas that there's quite a bit more to cover on.
Well, people can register for the 24th of May in person in London in the description below. The link is in the description. We will be joined by Paul as well, and taking further that conversation on customer engagement and why is it important for logistics and delivery companies to do it and how to do it properly. We also have quite a lot of other things that we work with Descartes, so you can go on our website and find more information on all different topics, whether it is related to sustainability, fleet management, retail. Paul, thank you very much. And we will be...
Thanks, Nick.